Hey guys, what's up? My name's Kayla from PlanningWithKay, and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having a good month of November so far, or at least hanging in there depending on how this year's treating you. I've missed you, I'm so excited to be back, and today I'm going to be setting up my November bullet journal spreads. This may seem a bit late as it's nearly already halfway through November somehow, but I actually filmed this video back in October. I ended up having a few personal emergencies come up right at the beginning of last month that caused some pretty big delays with my shop orders and my Patreon rewards. So I had to spend the rest of October as well as the start of this month essentially just catching up after all that. It definitely didn't feel right to spend time editing and posting a new video and promoting a new sticker release when I was already behind. So I told myself that I wouldn't edit this video until after I had caught back up, and here I am. I finally conquered that backlog of orders, and I've nearly caught up on all of my Patreon sticker shipments, so I decided that it was time to show you guys how I prepared for November in my bullet journal. For this month, I decided to get theme suggestions from all of my patrons over on my Patreon. If you didn't know, my Patreon page is one of my absolute favorite corners of the internet where you can support me online by pledging $1 to $30 a month, and you get different monthly rewards depending on how much you pledge. I live stream 7 times a month over on Patreon. I post monthly theme polls to choose the new stickers every single month. I post printables, digital stickers, behind the scenes content, all sorts of stuff over there. And if you pledge $15 or more, you'll also get the newest monthly sticker collections mailed to your door before they get released anywhere else every single month automatically. So if you like my stickers, if you like my spreads or my videos, I definitely recommend checking it out. That's patreon.com/planningwithkay, or of course the link for everything I mentioned today will be in the description down below. So I asked my patrons what themes they wanted to see from me. I then compiled those theme suggestions into a poll for everybody to vote on, and after all that, the winning theme for this month was a baking theme. This is a theme that people have been suggesting for years, I feel like, and I feel like it definitely fits so well with these colder months that are coming in now as winter is approaching. So I was super excited to see this win and to finally get to design some baking stickers for you guys. I designed most of my sticker collections during my Patreon live streams. There's about 10 hours of footage from the month where I designed these baking stickers. Right now on Patreon, I'm actually in the middle of designing my next themed sticker collection, which I'm calling Windows of the World. I'm so excited about it, and I've been showing the process during my current Patreon live streams. I'm really proud of that new collection and how it's turning out, and I'm actually going to be sending that collection to all of my November patrons once it's finished. So if you're interested in any of that and seeing the behind the scenes live streams, or if you want to sign up for that automatic sticker delivery, you can find all of that on my Patreon. So back to this month in my bullet journal, I'm using my brand new baking themed sticker collection, including the 3-sheet monthly kit, the matching decorative and functional sheets, a Patreon exclusive sheet that I design every month, and of course the matching freebie sheet. As usual, this entire collection, excluding that exclusive Patreon sheet, is available in my sticker shop. It's planningwithkay.com, and of course I'm going to have everything from that collection linked down in the description below. Don't forget that every single order from my shop also comes with a full-size freebie sheet, and I'm actually running a special sale for you guys just to go with this video. So for the next 3 days, my entire shop is going to be 25% off. You don't need a coupon code or anything. Everything is already just going to be automatically discounted 25%, including over 40 themed sticker collections. If you're interested in purchasing any stickers or just want to browse to see what different themes I have, you can find it all at planningwithkay.com, and again, everything will be linked down in the description below. Okay, so getting to what I'm actually doing in my journal now. For my November cover page here, you can see that I'm just creating this little kitchen countertop type scene here on the left using the baking supply stickers along with my trusty watercolors that I'm in love with. And as usual, all of the supplies that I'm using is going to be linked down in the description below. So So on the right side here, I use this full page wallpaper printable from my Patreon. So I just printed it on sticker paper and cut it down to size for my A5 journal page. And then on top of that, I'm gonna make it look like there's a recipe pinned to the wall here. I was actually live streaming while I set up this cover page, and I got a recipe suggestion from one of my patrons that I couldn't help but use. It's a recipe for 2020, and it says, half a cup chaos plus half a cup of havoc. Mix in a blender without the top on. It's just so fitting, so perfect for this year. Thank you, Laura, for that suggestion. Finally, I'm finishing this cover spread off with my November 2020 header and an adorable little decorative quote and baking pun, and that says, "Don't be afraid to take whisks." And that was also a suggestion from one of my patrons during a Patreon live streams. I'm always so grateful to everybody who gives me ideas and suggestions. You guys know that I really love using your ideas. I definitely love incorporating those into my setup, and knowing that my journal is in some way sort of like a collaboration of ideas, I feel like is really cool and special, and it's often something I remember when I'm looking at past spreads. I'm like, oh yeah, somebody suggested that quote. But yeah, so with that, that is it for my November cover page, and we're gonna move on to my main monthly calendar spread. So I'm starting off by drawing in my actual calendar. This is just going to be a single-paged calendar on the left here for the month of November, and each day is going to get a spot that is 3.5 spaces wide by 5 spaces tall. You can see that I'm sectioning off the top row of each week. This is where I'm going to be putting my dates later. So now I'm creating a Dutch door on the right side. I really wanted to incorporate a Dutch door into my setup again. So I just cut off the right half of that right page, and then I made it look like there's some cute little tabs sticking out from there, almost like this is a recipe book. And I really love the effect that that gives to this simple but functional Dutch door. And you're going to see exactly what I'm going to be putting on the other side of this Dutch door a little bit later on. So after filling in those little date sections with those same primary color watercolors, I'm going to be creating a decorative sidebar here. This is what I'm going to be putting on the part of the Dutch door that's visible no matter which way you flip the page. I really like to include little decorative bits on this part of the Dutch door, so it's almost like a 2-in-1. You flip the page, but all of that beautiful decoration that I create is still going to be showing. So I'm creating this big watercolor splash. I really figured out here how I wanted to use these watercolor colors together. The cover page turned out a little bit dark for me, and the colors didn't quite blend together how I wanted, but here I figured out that I wanted to just use a little bit more water and blend them in a smoother, more pastel way. And I absolutely love how this turned out and how the watercolor turns out for the rest of this setup. So to match that watercolor vibe, I decided to use this yellow paint stroke header from my paint stroke monthly kit. And I'm then just putting my weekly headers at the top of my calendar using these small black weekly header stickers from the baking monthly kit. Now with my black pen and my white gel pen, I'm going to write in my main November header on top of that calendar. And right after that, I'm going to put in all of my dates. I've really been loving using my little date stickers, so much so that I actually included a set of these little number circles in the baking monthly kit. So if you've been wanting to try these out but didn't want to buy a whole sheet, it's a part of the monthly kit. I thought that was really convenient. So I'm just using these little numbers here to label my calendar. So now let's move to that Dutch door. On the front of my Dutch door, I'm going to be having a task list for the month. I'm using one of these main header stickers from the monthly kit to create my little task header at the top. And then I'm going to be using one of these circle lists from the Patreon only sheet alongside this big tart sticker. I absolutely love that big sticker. Unfortunately, I only included that on the Patreon only sheet, but that's why if you're interested in that $30 Patreon tier, it's always good because you get access to those exclusive sheets like that. So now on the other side of my Dutch door, I'm going to include my other monthly sections here, which is going to be my bills for the month. This is going to be a spot just for me to jot down all the bills that I have due throughout the month of November. And then on the right side, I'm going to have a little monthly gratitude log. For my bill tracker here, I'm using a number strip to put my dates down the side. I'm now also going to just finish up those little tabs that kind of make it look like a recipe book, just doing the same exact thing on this side that I did on the front. I'm going to use some of these circle lists as well, so that way I have a spot that I can fill out when I've actually paid that bill. I really like actually being able to keep track of what bills have already come out of my bank account and which ones haven't been paid yet. So once it's paid, I'll just fill in that circle. Now on my gratitude log, I am just doing a really simple layout this month. I've been enjoying doing a more limited gratitude log where instead of jotting down something every single day that I'm grateful for, I just give myself like 5 to 10 blank spaces to fill out. So for this month, I absolutely love what I ended up doing here. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, but I don't know, I've just been getting more comfortable with watercolor and have been able to make some of my ideas come to life. So I'm doing some of these pastel rounded shapes here, and I'm going to be filling these out with the big things throughout the month that I'm grateful for or any good things that happen. I've already started using this setup, obviously, since it is already a bit of the way through November, and this entire spread has been working so well for me. The calendar, the task list, the bills, the gratitude log. I just really feel like I've come into a stride with my bullet journal layouts, and it gives me a little bit more opportunity to just play around with the fun bits, and experiment with watercolor a little bit more, experiment with how I lay out my stickers. You can see on the right side, I'm creating this swirl of pastries and baking supplies and cupcakes and all sorts of things. And it just creates a really whimsical, beautiful look. I'm also going to accentuate this a little bit with some white gel pen. I'm going to create some swirls, not very realistic, but it's almost like a little tornado of baking things. I don't know. I just love it. I love the white gel pen on top of the watercolor, and I just really love how this spread came together. I know you guys are always curious about the watercolor and the white gel pens that I use whenever I use them in a setup. So don't forget, again, all my supplies are linked in the description. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in this white gel pen or the watercolors that I'm using today. And with that, that is it for my main November monthly overview spread. I absolutely love how this turned out. So let's move right along and start setting up my next November bullet journal spread. So here I'm going to be setting up my daily review. This is a spread that I love including every month that gives me a space to jot down a summary of each day, along with a spot for recording my mood. It's basically like a daily summary and mood tracker all in one. I used this washi tape, kind of faux washi tape sticker from the Patreon only sheet for my header at the top here, along with one of my monthly spread header stickers for daily review. I really love that washi tape. It's my first month doing something like that on my Patreon sheet, but I really loved using it throughout this setup, so I'm definitely going to have to consider including that more often. It was very useful. So as you can see, I created this big watercolor background. I think this is one of my favorite spreads in this whole setup because of that big watercolor background. I'm then just sticking in a number strip from the freebie sheet, along with some of those circle lists from the freebie sheet as well. That's going to be my mood tracker. So I'm just going to fill in the circle with my mood. On the bottom right corner here, I'm going to have my mood key, which is just going to show 4 different colors to signify bad mood to good mood. And that's basically it for this spread. I'm just going to finish it off with some extra decorative stickers. You can see I already laid out a couple baking supplies at the top, but I'm just going to put in some aprons, and then of course, white gel pen. I can't say it enough. I love the white gel pen over the watercolor. So I decided to put in a ton of hearts, and this is where this spread just like chef kiss comes together. I love how it turned out, and it really inspired me to get going on the rest of this setup. So here I'm going to use this calendar printable from my Patreon. I release calendar printables every single month, both dated and blank, and all of those are still available if you want to get your hands on this. I'm just going to stick that in, and this is going to be my live stream schedule for the month. I like to have a separate calendar just for my live streams as an easy reference throughout the month. So this is where I'm going to jot down all of my live streams throughout the month of November. Now on the right right side, I'm going to be creating my brain dump for this month. If you don't know, my brain dump is a spread that, again, I always include that is basically just like an extra page for me to jot down any ideas, thoughts, things that I'm thinking about that I want to write down but don't quite have another space for it. So I like to categorize mine. I'm creating 4 different sections here. It's going to be one section for things having to do with videos and YouTube, another section for anything related to my Patreon, a third section for anything shop or sticker related, and finally a section for anything else. I'm labeling those with these little flags from the monthly kit and then just writing in the header right next to that. Now to the right side of each of these, I'm going to include one of these tiny square sticker scenes. These are basically the main headers that I created, but just little miniature scenes from them. But I really love that added bit of decoration. I'm going to finish this spread off with another kind of watercolor decorative bit at the bottom. I'm just creating another primary color splash along the bottom there. Gonna stick in some baked goods and baking supplies, of course, and finishing it off with some more of those white gel pen hearts. And just like that, we finished this spread, and that's actually my last monthly spread of this setup. Now I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to set up 2 weekly spreads to start off the month of November. You can see before I do that, I also got inspired by my hearts, and I had to add them to my cover page. This actually made me really like this cover page a lot more, so I'm happy I went back and did that. All right, so getting started with my first weekly spread for the month of November. If you guys don't know, my typical bullet journal system is that I have my monthly spreads. I then have a weekly spread or a weekly dashboard for every single week. And this serves more as like a overview of the week. It's not where I have my detailed task lists, because along with my weeklies, I then also use daily logs throughout the month. My daily logs are where I actually am jotting down my to-do list every day, and that's where I'm like actively checking off tasks throughout the day, and I actually have like a long detailed task list, versus my weekly spreads are more where I plan out my week. It's where I make sure I have a spot where I can jot down anything that's coming up, and I also like to make sure that I'm keeping track of my live streams and my bills. Those are the 2 really important things I like to have on my weekly, just to be super double triple sure I'm not missing any of those. So here you can see I've given each day its own column split into 3 categories for bills, live streams, and tasks. I have this decorative sidebar on the left, and then I'm creating my weekly headers using these Monday through Sunday headers from the freebie sheet, those square decorative stickers, and then just creating my dates on top of that. I'm now just going to add a little extra touch of color and decoration to this spread by filling in my live stream and bill schedule sections, each with a different pastel color. And the finishing touch is some cupcakes lining the bottom here. And with that, that is it for my very first weekly spread for the month of November. This week has already come and gone, and I can say that that spread was very useful and worked exactly as intended. So let's set up this weekly spread now. This is for the second week of November. This is actually the weekly spread I'm currently using. I'm basically going to have similar categories here, similar sections, just laid out in a different way. Each day gets a row that is 5 spaces tall, and there's 3 different columns here. This is going to be for my 3 categories. Again, bills, live streams, and tasks. I used another one of those washi tape stickers that I said that I've really been enjoying using at the top for those headers. And now on the left page, I'm going to have a habit tracker for the week along with a main weekly task list. I do like to include weekly habit trackers here and there. I've been enjoying kind of doing it on and off. That way I don't get burnt out tracking habits too often, but I find it useful in the middle of the month just to make sure I'm keeping up all those good, healthy habits that I like to make sure I'm maintaining. So above my habit tracker, I have my task list for the week, and I'm going to finish this spread off with a header at the top here. Consistently throughout the last few months, I feel like my brain has been running an entire month behind, so I'm realizing now I wrote October 9th through 15th, but never fear, it is November. Don't let me fool you. So I'm just going to add a couple little watercolor hearts to the top of this page. I couldn't get those hearts out of my head, so I had to tie that into this spread somehow. And once that's done, that is it for my November bullet journal setup. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me set up all of these spreads today. I'm so happy with how all of this turned out with the new baking theme, the watercolor colors that I decided to use. I feel like everything really came together and it has all been working so well for me so far this month. Everything has been going off without a hitch, and I'm just really grateful to have this all set up so that my month goes smoothly. I'm so sorry again that this came out late as well. Life gets crazy sometimes, I'm sure you guys understand. I do think this is a very wintry theme as well, so I hope you still got inspiration from this for your December, January, February setup, whatever you have coming up that you're trying to get inspiration for. Like I mentioned, all of the stickers that I used today will be available in my sticker shop, and I have a 25% sale going on right now, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. All the links for everything I mentioned today will be down in the description below. Alright guys, that's it for my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell so you know when I release my next video. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at PlanningWithKay, and don't forget to let me know in the comments down below what you want to see for my next bullet journal theme. I love getting theme ideas from you guys, so flood those comments with theme suggestions. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!